you want to introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate Best Buddies for letting me come on and do a little bit of a health and wellness talk. And um, my name is Logan Anderson. I'm the owner of All Strong Fitness, which is a basically a personal training company, health and wellness company that works with individuals with special needs. The reason why I kind of started this endeavor for myself is because I realized that individuals with special needs didn't really have a lot of good opportunities to improve their health and wellness or just learn stuff about it. So that's kind of where I come in. And I reached out to Best Buddies Iowa, which is also partnered with Pennsylvania and a few other places, to do a little bit of a health talk with you guys. So, kind of the topic that I picked out today is about healthy grocery shopping. So, grocery shopping is something that we all need to do. As we all know, we need food to survive. So, it's really, really important because the food we eat is kind of the foundation for living a good and healthy life. Um, Grocery shopping in itself can be kind of a challenging task, though, not only for individuals with special needs, but for somebody like myself. Even I struggle when I go grocery shopping. You simply don't know what to get. There's a lot of things that can kind of be overwhelming in those big grocery stores. The second you go in there, it's like, wow, I don't even know where to start, which I totally get. Um, so, as I mentioned, grocery shopping is really, really crucial and will set you up for success. If you go grocery shopping and find yourself often buying a lot of unhealthy things, this makes it 10 times harder to stay healthy once you get home. However, comparatively, if you do go to the grocery store and buy some good, healthy food for you, by the time you get home, you don't really have to think about it. It's already there for you. All you just need to do is prepare it and eat it. So kind of what I wanted to talk about next was just what makes it so difficult to grocery shop. And kind of something I should have mentioned too. If you do have any questions or just want to take notes on this stuff, feel free to write stuff down. You can write questions down and we can address them at the end. And as she said, we can just have a little conversation. So what makes it hard to grocery shop? The first thing I want you to realize is that grocery shops are designed to get you to buy unhealthy food. A lot of them have really bright, flashy signs that say 2 for $5 on cookies or 2 for $5 on cakes. Basically, they're trying to catch your eye and get you to buy the things that are unhealthy and they taste good. And this is for a reason. If stuff tastes good and it's at a good price, they're going to want you to come back and spend more money. So I think that's really important when first going into a grocery store. Just realize that they don't necessarily want you to be healthy unless there's like a dietitian on staff there. Another thing that makes it hard to do healthy grocery shopping is that unhealthy food is usually cheap and convenient. I'm sure you've gone down the aisles and looked at how cheap a bag of chips is, a box of cookies. I mean, we're talking like maybe a couple bucks, and you can get a whole roll or a whole bag of cookies, chips, etc. These things are really delicious and kind of the same thing as the first one. Grocery stores know this and they'll place it in specific areas to get you to buy them. In addition to this, we all know that unhealthy food tastes delicious too. So, kind of stemming from the first two, grocery stores play into all these things, knowing that unhealthy food is delicious, knowing that it's cheap, they will place it in specific regions just to get you to buy it. So I think those are the three big things that I put down that kind of make it hard to go when you navigate through a grocery store. Something else I forgot to mention too is that maybe you don't do your grocery shopping for yourself. However, there may be a point in your life where you do your grocery shopping with yourself, or maybe you're going out with a staff member who might need some help and guidance in grocery shopping for you. In addition to this, I'm sure you have family or friends that could potentially benefit from knowing some things as well. So it's just something to keep in mind for yourself when you are trying to approach this and just kind of realize, like, what's really the importance of this. So, kind of the last little thing that I had written down here was just a few simple tips to kind of make it easier when you're navigating through the grocery stores. Um, the first tip that I have is to try your best to stay on the outside of the aisles. As I mentioned, grocery stores are made in a specific way to get you to buy specific food. In the aisles, that's where a lot of the prepackaged, unhealthy food lies for us. On the outside of the grocery store, however, this is where we have our milk, our meat, our vegetables, all of those things that we call whole foods that are very minimally processed and, for the most part, pretty healthy for you. So, next time you go to a grocery store, kind of notice how the layout is. When you go there, you'll probably notice that most of the things on the outside of the grocery store are those things I mentioned: your vegetables, your fruits, dairy, cheese, and of course, your meats. Um, on top of this, another simple tip is to try to focus on getting foods for yourself without nutrition labels. This may seem counterintuitive because you ideally do want to know what's in your food, um, but usually foods with nutrition labels have a lot of processing to them, and these processed foods aren't the best to be eaten a lot. So, those things that I just mentioned, the meats, the vegetables, and fruits, if you go look at them at the grocery store, basically none of them have nutrition labels. And it is simply because the only ingredient in them is that food. There's no preservatives, there's no additives, there's no extra junk, as I like to call it, that will really make it unhealthy for you. So, just another thing to consider: try to find foods that don't really have a nutrition label. One of the next things that I'm going to mention, and probably the biggest thing, is to not go grocery shopping when you're hungry. And you've probably heard this before, but going when you're hungry is basically a recipe for disaster. Um, when you're hungry, you're naturally going to start craving certain things to kind of minimize and get rid of that hunger. I'm sure you've noticed when you're hungry, the first thing that you want is probably something that's not the most healthiest. I know for myself, if I get really, really hungry and haven't eaten a while, I'm thinking of like burgers, pizza, French fries, milkshakes, all those really good things. And it's exactly the same when you're in the grocery store. If you go in there hungry, you're going to gravitate towards those middle aisles that we talked about, that have the cookies, that have the cakes, that have the chips, all of those things. So it's just super, super important to realize that. And if you are hungry before you go grocery shopping, have a little bit of snack. If it's around your meal time, of course, just have a meal. And sometimes what I've done too is, if I'm at a grocery store and I am starting to get hungry, I'll actually go and purchase a piece of fruit or something that's healthy before I even start shopping. That's a really, really good idea. Or you can bring something from home too. As I mentioned, understand that the grocery stores want you to buy the unhealthy food because it's very, very tasty. It's very, very cheap a lot of the times. And if you buy those things, you're going to want to keep coming back and getting more groceries. Probably the last thing that's really good for you guys to be aware of is to shop with a list and kind of have a purpose. So if you go to the grocery store and you're just like, I'm going to go in here, I'm just going to get groceries. a lot of times what'll happen is we start going down the aisles and we'll start looking at all these really cool, delicious things that were just put on the market. Like around Easter time, we'll see all the cool Easter candy. Around October and Halloween, we'll see a bunch of pumpkin spice treats and stuff. So if you go in with a list and a plan, and none of that junk or unhealthy food is on the list, it's going to make it much easier to kind of stay away from those things and keep with a healthier plan. Um, in addition to this, if you do have somebody that you can shop with, whether it's a staff member, a family member, or even a really good friend that can keep you accountable and remind you that, hey, we're trying to make some healthier options when it comes to grocery shopping, this can really, really go a long way. Um, so, in closing here, basically, I want you to keep this in mind when you are grocery shopping. It's to ask yourself when you are going to the store if that food will be tempting to have around in your house. If you are somebody who can kind of monitor yourself and not eat a whole bag of chips at once, not eat a whole sleeve of cookies at once, it might be okay to have a little bit of junk food. But if that food is too tempting and you know you're just going to binge on it, it might be a good idea to try to stay away from it. In closing, just realize that these behaviors take time to kind of work around and improve upon yourself. For myself, I'm still working on it, and I do a lot of these things that I kind of mentioned myself. It did take me a lot of years to kind of realize that grocery stores are basically working against me to try to get me to buy really unhealthy stuff. But now that I have kind of gone through a little bit of self reflecting, it's a lot easier to grocery shop normally. Um, that's pretty much it for the content. So if you guys have any questions or just whether it's about grocery shopping or just about health and fitness in general, when it comes to this stuff, feel free. I haven't really looked at the chat yet. There's questions in the chat. So no questions in the chat. If any of you guys want to unmute yourself and want to ask me questions, feel free.
Anybody have any questions? Mariah, did you have a question?
No, I just wanted to tell you I'm on keto right now, so
Oh, okay.
that's why I was eating broccoli and bacon, and I made keto peanut butter cookies yesterday.
Very
That's
interesting.
awesome.
Where did you learn about eating keto?
My parents.
Okay, so your parents eat keto?
hmm
Nice.
They made me in 11th grade because I was not doing really well
Sure.
with eating, and then they were doing it, and then I moved back to my parents' house, and then they started eating keto, and my mom's like, if whatever I make, you're on keto.
Okay.
Well, it's really good to start eating healthy for sure. What are some of your other, does anybody else have some good healthy eating habits that you guys do? Maria Elise, do you have something to share?
I do.
Let's hear it.
Sometimes we eat healthy, and on weekend we are bad. But I want to tell you everything that you said, Megan, I agree, and I thank you for 7 of information. I think that is a good. I think that is a very good idea and awesome community to do all of that and to
Yeah.
know that experience. And I sometimes I like to do that.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you for saying all that, because that that what you do to work on being happy and staying safe and being doing some exercising.
Yeah,
So,
bravo, Logan, for what you do and getting people to eat healthy and choose the right things. That's super
Absolutely.
important.
yeah,
Right, guys?
I'm glad
Yeah.
you took something
right.
away from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Did anybody else have any comments or things that they wanted to say? Alden, yeah, go ahead.
I've been taking class at the continent longer.
Oh, really?
Every day.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so I won't help.
It's always good to Yeah, it's always good to every day, think about your health and be healthy. So that's awesome. Julian, did you have anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a piece of fruit and salad almost every day.
That's great.
Uh,
Good to have a
yeah.
balanced diet, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Very, very great. Awesome. Blythe, Jared, or Sophia, if you guys have any comments, I know your videos aren't on, but you're welcome to put anything in the chat too. Any of you guys on comments that you guys had. Any other questions that you guys had for Logan on how to be healthy or anything like that? Yeah, Mariah.
How many hours of exercising should I do a day? I already do 1 hour or more. Like I walk my dog a half hour, and then I do at least 2 15-minute or 3 minute or 2 15-minute videos or more, and then do like a cool down of cardio on my iPad. And I just started that, so.
That's awesome. So what I would say to you is to try to find a amount that is sustainable and something that you could do basically for the rest of your life. So, right now what you're doing is honestly probably more than enough. And I think it's really good you're doing it. But say to yourself, like, when we're done here, like go through kind of your exercise habits and be like, is this something I enjoy, and is this something I can do long term? Because that's really what being fit is. It's not necessarily that I'm like special because I like health and wellness. It's just that I've found something for myself that's easy to sustain, and I can do it for a really long time. So with what you're doing right now, I think that's awesome and definitely good. The only other thing I could say is like if you're able to add some resistance training, whether it's lifting weights or doing some like circuit classes, I'm not sure what you have access to, but trying to get a little bit of cardio and a little bit of weights is usually what I would recommend to people. But for the most part, you're doing way more than most people. So be proud of yourself for that.
Okay, thank you. And my mom said the goal is an hour. If they go over a little hour, they're okay with that.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I mean, do you feel like an hour a day is easy to accomplish for the most part?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I do half of cardio and half of walking my dog, I have to walk my dog or he'll
Sure.
be hyper.
You kill two birds with one stone that way. I do the same thing, so it's perfect. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's awesome.
Awesome. Anybody else have any other questions? No?
I have a question for you. Like when everybody's off, is it okay if I just talk to you for a minute?
Of course you can. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome.
Okay.
Well, thank you guys so much. This was fantastic. So we are going to be having our fitness session on the 14th of April. So that will be where we will have a video of Logan actually showing how to do a lot of the fitness exercises and things like that. So if you guys are able to join that, and it's going to be at 12 p.m. on the 14th, but we'll send out an email with all the details of that, just like we always do.
I have one more thing to add. If you guys are interested about learning more about me or potentially even doing some virtual personal training after you kind of watch the video of me showing you the exercises, feel free to go to allstrongfitness.org. That's my website where I have all my social media, my Facebook, my YouTube channel, everything where you guys can kind of check out stuff about me and potentially learn about becoming healthier. So that's kind of where you can find me. You can email me that way. Otherwise, you can also talk to Samantha if you do want to get some more contact information about me as well. But this went really well. I appreciate it again, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you guys some point in the near future.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Logan. And we look forward to our next session with you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Logan.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you, Logan. Really good.
You did do really good. All right. Bye, you guys. Thank you.